handmade in the USA by Gibson's master craftsmen with a passionate attention to detail that is rare in today's high-technology environment. These are the instruments that shaped rock, blues, jazz, and country. Antonio Stradivari's violins could not have been made without Antonio. And so it is with Gibson Guitars and the company's dedicated master craftsmen. From Orville Gibson and his original archtop guitar to Ted McHugh's adjustable truss rod and Seth Lover's humbucking pickup, this history of innovation has made Gibson Guitars the trend-setting instruments for the last century and the cornerstone of the vintage guitar market. An investor who acquired a 1959-1960 Les Paul Flametop in 1968 would find his investment had increased in value 5,500% in 25 years. That same tradition of craftsmanship, quality, and innovation is upheld today by a new generation of artisans.
Quality is first and foremost in the mind of the consumer or the Gibson owner. That's the reason they buy Gibson, because of the high quality caliber of the guitar that we build.
The process of creating each classic Gibson model began with a blank sheet of paper in front of a talented Gibson designer. From Lloyd Loar's trend-setting L5 to the benchmark Les Paul, the innovative Firebird, and the before-its-time Flying V, no other guitar manufacturer has influenced the art of modern guitar like Gibson. In 1903, Gibson's first catalog assured customers that its instruments would be made of woods with the most durable, elastic, and sonorous qualities. Today, each guitar in Gibson's collection is produced using painstakingly selected prized woods.
We have such a high quality standards that I have to work with. It's a lot easier to buy the best stuff you can find than it is to try and just settle for something and get something out of it. It's very hard from time to time to find the best grade material.
It's very hard to find the quality of, say, the spruce we have. I've been working on carved top since '88. Working with them. Before that, I was doing acoustic hollow bodies. I loved it ever since.
The manual molding, shaping, and bending of wood follows traditions that were begun a century ago. The most important part of the top of a carved top is the inside. While never seen, extreme care is necessary to produce an exceptional instrument, musically as well as visually.
Quality is very important. In my opinion, if you don't have quality, you're not going to stay in business too long, you know.
Another labor-intensive detail is the binding of the F-holes. This single step can take years to master.
We take pride in what we do. You can't mess it up. If the black has to touch the black and the white has to touch the white, and you're just off a little bit, you have to take it off and start all over again.
You know, there can't be any dips, ridges, anything like that. And on the tops, they have to be able to fit a bridge to it pretty snugly, so it's pretty important detail.
I got the figure on the necks to fit the slot that I cut in the body. So it's got to be right. If it's off-centered, it's going to be, it won't line up on the pickups or the bridge or the saddle or anything else. So it's got to be exactly right.
The rabbiting has to be extremely precise. The binding has to be cut to the exact right thickness. The tension on the rope has got to be right, and if the thing slides at all, you got to make sure you get all that slack out of there, because when all's said and done, any mistake that's made in the process is going to show in the finished product, and that's just not, we can't tolerate that.
The final shape of the neck, which determines character, feel, and playability, is done entirely by hand. Then, rather than bolting a neck onto a body, Gibsons are hand-fit and glued for that rock-solid fit.
It's a solid neck joint, you know, as well as being one piece of wood that's glued in solid. Before that, you have neckline, body line, and at that point it becomes a guitar, so better than a bolt-on.
What we do is scrape all that glue out of there, the body get it real good and smooth, if you put too much pressure, you can go into the binding, just enough to scrape that glue and bind it off there. I love it. I love it.
Fretboards and inlays are assembled by hand using the finest natural materials. This ebony fretboard with mother-of-pearl inlays is destined for a Les Paul custom.
Well, you want to get the fingerboard real smooth and looking good, and the inlays looking good, so it's pretty visible for a player, you know, to have something that looks really cool. Well, I guess since I've been working here, you know, just realizing how much, effort goes into each one.
Just the name alone says a lot. I mean, they've been around forever, and actually, the first, what I consider real guitar that I ever bought was a Gibson, and I've used them ever since. You know. They're the best.
I've just, for some reason, just always loved the shape of them, the sound of them. I remember being 8 or 9 years old, pretending I was Gene Simmons, and then we would cut cardboard guitars out of refrigerator boxes and color them up and jump around. I mean, this is playing all day, pretty much, you know. It's something that I really like to do, when you can see a guitar come out of the other side of this building and somebody goes and makes something great with it, and you had your hands on it.
I'm responsible for all the color work in the finish department, whether it's developing new colors or trying to recreate old vintage colors. A lot of my transparent finishes are stains, which a lot of companies have gotten away from because it's harder to do, but we take the time to do it, mostly because we're trying to recreate a lot of the old finishes, and you get a more clear, transparent finish using stain. I try to pick the color that's best suited for the wood. Sometimes I'll take a guitar back to somebody in, you know, higher authority to get a color change, just because I feel that the wood deserves a different color.
Sometimes even a little fleck of dirt really makes a big difference in a speck of color where it shouldn't be. And to me, that's a very important part of it. The quality is hand in hand with Gibson.
I'm a scraper, and scraping is a part of the guitar building. It's just a tradition of Gibson. They've been scraping their binding all the way back to Orville. But to see it before it's scraped and then after it's scraped, it gives it a certain look. And what we do is complement the painter's work, and then hopefully the next person will complement the scraper's work. And if everybody does that at the end, then you've got a really nice piece of work, and it's something to be very proud of.
The best musical instruments in the world have always been finished in nitrocellulose finishes, such as lacquer. As with most things in life, nothing really good is easy. Lacquer is a much more difficult finish than the other finishes in use today, because it must be painstakingly applied in multiple, yet thin coats. Gibson has been using nitrocellulose lacquer since the very beginning. Almost every other guitar manufacturer in the world has changed to polyurethane due to its lower cost and ease of application. Polyurethane is a plastic. Too thick a finish can inhibit the vibrations of an instrument and prevent it from sounding truly great. Polyurethane is thicker than lacquer and does not change with age. However, lacquer, in addition to being thin to start with, becomes more of an integral part of the instrument as it ages. This is one of the contributing factors to the value of vintage instruments, and vintage Gibsons in particular. In order to assure a thin, smooth finish, a predetermined number of coats are applied, and the instrument is then scuff-sanded to level the finish. It is through this laborious process of applying lacquer and sanding that the mirror finish comes out. As well as being thin, nothing else buffs out to a more vibrant finish than lacquer.
Well, buffing is kind of like an extension of sanding and everything. I kind of look at it like, would I buy this instrument? You know, I want to try to do it, you know, like if I was buying the instrument myself.
You have to, you know, make sure you don't sand too much of the frets, and, you know, you really have to get it perfect. Really focus on what you're doing. Get it perfect, you know, and that's what we make sure of.
After the components are put on the guitar, the instrument is tested stem to stern.
Tweaking them up, getting ready, keep the strings from buzzing along the frets, getting the right height and action to the Gibson standards. It's a great responsibility. The name, the quality. When you buy it, you know you're paying for something that's well worth the money.
We're also big on customer service.
We have thousands of people calling every week just to find out information about guitars they found in a yard sale, to a guitar that's in the store window, wanting to know information about it. So there's a mystique about Gibson. Gibson's become collector's items. It's something that's valuable. It's like precious jewels and things of that nature when you own a Gibson guitar.
Gibson Guitars, in a word, artistry. The greatest tribute to the quality and craftsmanship of Gibson guitars may be found in the people who own them.